I'm Dr. Anita Karthi, Professor, Department of CSE, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. This video is intended for the course Programming for Problem Solving C Language. And the topic covered in this video is Introduction to C Language. This video covers the various topics such as problems and solutions, computer language, evolution of programming language C, history of C, applications of C, algorithm, flowchart, pseudocode program, basic structure of C program, executing of C program, the character set involved in C, tokens, variables, constants, keywords, identifiers, expressions, comments, standard input-output, and with a demo activity. First, we start with problem solution. So in everyday life, we have problems and we need a solution for it. So problem always needs a solution. So for example, when you take a kindergarten story of the thirsty crow, there was a problem to the crow to have water from a jar. The solution was it put stones and the water came up and there was a solution to its problem. So any problem in a day-to-day life, say for example, when you have a rain, we need an umbrella. So all the mathematical problems, we need solutions. For example, so we have done a mathematical algebraic formula. We need a solution for it. So every problem need a solution. So when there is a problem, how to do? Say for example, when I want to transfer two liquids, as shown, there is a problem for us. So we need a solution. I think everyone know we need an extra glass to transfer the two liquids. So there was a problem and there we obtain a solution. Similarly, in all the day-to-day life, we need the solution to the problems. Computers provide extraordinary solutions to all the problems. So in order to communicate to the computers, we need programming language. So one such programming language is the C language. Let's see the evolution of programming language C. In 1940, the machine language came into existence. The machine language is nothing but in terms of zeros and ones. It is understood easily by the computer but difficult by the humans. The next in 1950, the assembly language came into existence. The assembly language consists of mnemonics, certain codes and certain words. Okay. Next comes the high level language, the Fortran. So the high level language is English like language which can be easily understood by the computer, which need to be converted to machine language in order for the machine to understand. In 1957, we had Fortran, Formula Translation Program. Then in 1958, we have Lisp programming, which is based on the list type of data. And in 1959, we have Common Oriented Business Language. And after 1960, the algorithmic approach came into existence. The first program under that is ALGOL. Then in 1964, a basic language was evolved, and in 1967, basic combined programming language, which forms the basis for the B language in 1969, and then in 1972, we had a C language. When come into the history of C, that is how the language evolved from B. In 1960, the ALGOL International Group was the first to give the algorithmic approach to the programming language. In 1967, Martin Richards found BCPL. In 1970, the B language was found, that is Ken Thompson, which forms the basis for the C language. In 1972, Dennis Ritchie introduced traditional C. After that, C has a various form. It has Kenihan and Ritchie KR and C version in 1978, and in 1989 we have ANSI committee standardizing the C as ANSI C. And in 1990 we had ANSI C and ISO together standardizing the C language. And in 1999 we had the standard committee C99, and in even 2011 some standardizations were performed in C language. The applications of C language, why we need to know more about C language and what are the important applications of it. First thing comes the software development. Second, the operating system. Then third, the graphical user interface. And we have animation and gaming, robotics, competitive programming, compiler design, and in embedded systems. And we know the Mozilla Firefox is entirely the applications of C, and the Google uses most of its applications using C language. So next comes the steps involved in problem solving. So whenever we need the problem solving through programming language in C, we had 4 steps. First thing is we need to write the algorithms, the logics to solve. Then the graphical algorithm. The next step is the flow chart, which gives the clear explanation of the flow of data. Next comes the pseudocode, the understandable semi program, which can be a transfer of from the algorithm and flowchart to the programming of any language. Then last comes the coding in C language. So let us see an example for an algorithm. So algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a problem. Now, we take a task of just walking on a square or in shape of a square. So it is performed by various sequence of steps. First, say turn to your left, then turn 10 steps from where you are in a straight line, and you can see the various steps. First step is change direction to north, move 10 steps, then to west, then to south, and then to east. The diagrammatic representation of walking in a square. So a programming language has a set of instructions, and it uses these instructions to make the computer to do a particular task. Next comes the flowchart. Flowchart is the diagrammatic representation of the algorithm. The common flowchart shapes are the important one, flow lines, which indicates the data flow. To start with, we use the terminator to start and stop. It is going to be a rounded shape of a rectangle. And then it is next one is the input output box, a parallelogram, and the process oriented instructions are indicated by a rectangle. The decision box is like similar to the rhombus, And the on-page connectors are represented by an oval, and the off-page connectors are represented by this shape. And any predefined process or a subroutine is indicated by this shape. Let's see a sample problem where we apply one by one procedure. Next, we consider a simple problem, an addition of two numbers rather than the addition of any two numbers. The first step is the algorithm. It is going to be the step-by-step procedure of how we are going to add any two numbers. So the first step is start input integers. So because we need to add two numbers, we need the input of it. So a comma b. And then we need to add it. In order to add it and then to store it, we need another variable, that is s is equal to 0. And then s is equal to a plus b. And the output we need to obtain, that is the sum of that two numbers. And then at last we need to stop the process. So when we add it, we have already seen in our lower classes. So when we add the two numbers, say 20 and 10, okay, so that those are the two numbers. So, and then when we add, we need the another number, 20 plus 10 is equal to 30. So the flow chart of the corresponding algorithm can be as follows. So it may be from start. So we need to start the flow chart. Then we need to input the integer. So the steps of the algorithm is given diagrammatically. So it's going to be the input. So we need to start and we get the input. So the inputs can be like 10 and 20. So we are writing input a comma b. Then next comes the process. That is, we are giving s is equal to 0. So the process is indicated by a rectangle. So s is equal to 0. Then another process we are doing, that is s is equal to a plus b. Okay. So s is equal to a plus b. And then next comes the output. So the output is also indicated by a parallelogram. So output, yes. Then at last stop. Stop is also a terminator. So we get the diagrammatic representation of the this algorithm to add two numbers. Next comes the pseudocode. The pseudocode is a schematic or simple representation of a program. So it uses get, set, display, input, like all these code words in order to represent the process. So get value of a comma b, then set initial value s to 0 as we did it, and s is equal to a plus b, and the display value of s. So it is going to be the input, process, and then output. So when this have to be converted to programming in C, we need to have various steps which we will be detailing later in this video. First one is to include the header files. So include stdio.h. Then we need to have the main function in order to operate on the process. So main function is very important. So we create a main function for it, and we create variables in order to get the numbers. Say int a is equal to 20, then int b is equal to 10, and we initialize another variable s, and we do s is equal to a plus b, and in order to get the output we need a certain function printf percentage d, yes, and then since we used int main, we need to end up with return 0. So now this is the C program in order to add two numbers, which we will be seeing in detail about what is the structure of a C program, etc. later in the video. Next, we discuss the basic structure of a C program. The basic structure of a C program consists of various sections. The first section is the documentation section, which gives what is the program about. The second section is the link section. Link section details the header files. The include stdio.h we have seen already. In order to include all the system files into this program, we need this link section. Then comes the definition section where we need to define some variables. And also next is the global declaration section, which is also declare the global variables. The next section is the main function section, which is an important part of the C language. So whenever you are running this program, the compiler go and search of this main function only. So in this main function, you will declare and execute, process, and get the output. And at last is the subprogram section, the program section where the entire main function is divided into various subfunctions. So we can write a number of functions in order to operate as a submodules, or it can also be one of the subroutines. A sample C program is outlined here. First thing is the name of the program, which we can see here, name of the program, which is going to be the document section. And when we include the standard io.h and the console io.h, this is going to be the link section. And we can define certain values for the variables, say a 10 is defined for the max. And we can have a global declaration section where if you declare the variables and function here, it is common to all the functions that is inside this program. And then next comes the int function, where this is the entry point of the C program. So we have int main, the variable declaration, and this program that just to printf hello main, and this is going to be the body of the main function. And at last section is going to be the function section. So we have an extra function add to just print hello add. So these are the various sections that are to be included when we write a C program. Next, we will see how a C program gets executed. So the process involved from compilation to execution. So the first thing is the program code, then comes the compilation. The compilation is performed by the compiler, and then comes the linking to the header files by the linker, and then loading by the loader, and then at last comes the execution. When we see that in detail flow, first we edit or you create some source code. The source code file is going to be the source file .c. So let us see and say we will write example dot C. So we we write a program and store it in example dot C. So when you store it in example dot C, it gets again then compiled. So when it is getting compiled, that is when you run the program, it is getting compiled. So when it is when it is compiled, you get another file called example dot object. So that is, it is converted into machine codes. After converting machine codes, it will link to the libraries. So when it links to the libraries, all the stdio.h or any mathematic functions means math.h will be linked to the files, and then it will be converted to executable file if no errors are there. If errors are there, it has to be again re-edited and then it is run. Okay. Then after executable files, the program is run, and if there are no more errors, we will get the output. So when an C program is run, there will be 3 files that has been generated. One is the source code, another one is the executable code, another one is the object file. So let us summarize. First is the writing that is stored in hello.c, and we write the program, store it in C files, and then it is getting compiled. That is, the object files of machine code is generated, and then we linked it, and then if you run, you will get the hello in the desktop. Next comes the character set of C language. As English has the character set, that is, we write essays and stories in terms with the English letters. So it has both capital letters and small letters. Similarly, the character set for C language, we have uppercase characters, lowercase characters, numbers, special characters, and common escape sequence. The common escape sequence are special types because they exhibit the function keys of the keyboard, like backspace, new line, horizontal tab, and a print with alert. And the special characters are going to be the plus, minus, question mark, whatever the characters that are available in the keyboards. Next, we'll see tokens in C. Tokens in C are the building blocks of C language. They are variables, constants that involve the data types, keywords, identifiers, and then operators. When we see about variables, variables are going to be the boxes to store things. You can imagine the variable as a box to store things. Say, for example, we store toys in a box. So variables are like boxes. They store information as values. We can store numbers and we can store text. So when we put things in the boxes, we need to name the box. Say, for example, when I have toys, I'll just name it as toys. So every variable have to be given a name. So the variable names going to be here, it's a toys. So every variable has a name. So variable can be considered as a container. It can have a numerical variable as well as the alphanumerical variable. The programmer can store a number, okay, or a alphanumeric. So you can use those variables in order to add, subtract, any performance that need to be done on it. So like example, we have already seen the addition of 2 numbers. The A, B, and S are the variables. Next comes an example of a variable. Say age is equal to 14. So age is a variable and 14 is the data in it. So that is denoted by this diagram. So you have a variable that a container, the data is stored in the variable and the data can be retrieved from the variable. So you can store data inside a variable and you can retrieve a data from a variable. So you have this 14. 14 is an integer number stored in age. Next comes name Jeremy. So it is the string, that is it consists of the characters that is called as the data type, that is string. And then sports underscore fan is equal to false. So this is the Boolean data type, whether true or false. So these are the examples of variables. Next, if we want to see about the constants. Constants are, as the name indicates, they are going to be certain constant value. So in the natural numbers, we have integer numbers, octal, hexadecimal, the real numbers, that is the decimal numbers, then a character, then strings, collection of characters, then the symbolic constants, and the object constant like define max is equal to, and then the backslash character constants, as we have discussed about the keyboard character /b /n. All those are under the constants in C. So when you see about the variables and constants, they come hand in hand. The constants are stored in the variables. So what are the types of constants that the C language can handle is given by the data types. So the data types are the integer, character, float, double, unsigned character, unsigned int, unsigned long int, and long double. So these are just the types of characters according to the number of bytes the data type can store. The value that can be stored under this data type is indicated in the table. So it indicates a variable and the format which with is specified in the C language in order to understand it is an integer. When you want to give an integer, it has to be represented by %d. When I want to represent as a long int, it is given as %ld. So we can assign a specific constant to the variables by indicating the data type. Example, int sum is equal to 10. So the sum is the variable and 10 is the constant of the data type integer. Similarly, character A is equal to K. So the K is going to be the constant. It is stored in the variable A and the data type is character. So this is how a variable declaration happens. Next, we discuss about reserved words. Reserved words are nothing but the keywords. The keywords are the words that is understood by the C language. The words that are specifically for the C language, which should not be used as a variables. Example, auto, default, the integer, long, switch, return, float, go to, size of, all these cannot be the variable names. Every time a compiler come across this particular character, say char or constant or continue the keywords, it will understand the particular process and it gets executed. The next comes the identifiers. You know, each object is identified by its name. Say if you see an apple, we say it is an apple. And when we see this picture, you know it's an India map. So it is identified. So the same way, each variable to be identified by a name. So there are rules to identify it. The first character should be an alphabet or an underscore, and there should be no special characters allowed in the names of the variables or functions, whatever the identifiers we are using in C language, and no keywords, no white space, and there is a word limit of 256 characters, and then it is very case sensitive. So the upper case is different and the lower case is different. Next, when we discuss about expression, expressions are the combinations of the operations performed on the variables and storing it in the variable. So we see an example, say a plus b asterisk c. So this is a variable which is also called as the operand, okay, operand 1, and then b is the operand 2 and c is the operand 3. So we perform addition and multiplication, that is called as the operator. So the operations are multiplications and addition. So you call it as a operator 1 and operator 2. So we do a plus b asterisk c and it is stored in result. So this way of giving the variables assigned to another variable, you call it as the expression. Next, we can use two type of commands in C language. One is the single line command. So it has to be end within one line, that is double slash the program to add numbers. And we can also use multi-line command by slash asterisk. So this have to be used often when we start a program, or in between when we write a subprogram, in order to easily understand by the others. So when somebody is reading our program, it should be understandable. So in order to have a clear picture of what each statement does or some section does, we need the commands. Next, we'll discuss about input output, which is one of the important section of the C language. So you know, when you give input, you get output. So certain examples in, so you have certain rules. Say if this machine is given an input, it will multiply 2 and then add 3. Same way, you know, so if this is the process where I send apples and I have get an half apple. Same way, I have a system where you have an input system and I get a output. So input through keyboard, okay, it is stored in the memory and the computation is done and the output is shown in the monitor. So in C language, whatever the data source that is coming from the input is treated as streams. Streams are nothing but the group of bits and it is sent to the program. So the source from which the input data can be obtained, we call as the input stream, and from the program the output is sent to the particular output device. So the destination to which the output can be sent is the output stream. So the standard input output used in C language is stdin, stdout, that is out, and std error. So std input is used to take the input from the device such as keyboard. The output is to give output to the monitor, that is a console screen. And then the standard error, it is used to route the error message to the screen. So you can see the representation from the keyboard. It takes the stdin and then it is to the display, if any error also to the display. So the console, so whenever it is going to be the communication between the input and the console through these steps, you call it as a console input output. So let us discuss the first thing is the C input, how the C program receives the input. So the one of the important function is the scanf. So now this scanf receives the data from the keyboard. Say when it is from the file or the keyboard, when we press the data from the input device, how we need to give it. So we need to give it scanf, as we have already indicated, integer is defined by %d, and then we need to give address of x, where x is the variable that has been already created in order to store this particular value. So when you give like this, it is being understood by the system that the user has typed 10 and the 10 will be stored in the X. So this is how the input is received from the keyboard to the program. Next is the printf statement, which is the C output, where we have already int x is equal to 10. If you say the print value percentage dx, so whatever the value the x has will be print to the console, whatever the output consoles you have connected. So as an example, we can see a is equal to 10. We can see printf percentage dA, the 10 will be printed. That is the output console. When I want to get into that thing, that is the scanf, say from the keyboard I press, the 10 is inserted, then A is equal to 10. Then we conclude the session by a demo activity for a variable. You can see the cat walking, so we can count the number of steps. So that becomes the variable. So when the cat may be walking slowly or fast, so accordingly the number of steps varies. Next, you can count the number of steps against the time. Okay, that is also a demo for a variable where it varies accordingly with time. So number of steps against the time. Now you can identify the variable. The exercise is left to you. So according to the amount of water and the growth of the plant, the variables are defined. Thank you.